It wasn't supposed to be real, at least not officially, because if it were, it would mean something happened that shouldn't be possible. Not just advanced technology, not just classified research, experiments that pushed beyond what people believe is even reachable. Time, perception, reality itself. The Montauk Project is often dismissed, labeled as fiction, a story that expanded beyond control. But like many things, it didn't start that way. It started with a location: Montauk Air Force Station, at the edge of Long Island, a place built for monitoring, radar systems, detection, part of a larger network designed to identify threats before they arrived. It was functional, structured, explainable, until it wasn't, because at some point, the purpose is said to have changed or expanded beyond what was publicly acknowledged. And that's where the claims begin. Not all at once, not in a single account, but in fragments. Different people, different times, describing similar environments, similar systems, similar outcomes. At first, it was about the mind. Experiments focused on perception, on thought, on whether the brain could do more than process information, whether it could project it, transmit it, influence beyond itself. Participants were reportedly placed in controlled environments, isolated, monitored, asked to focus, to visualize, to concentrate on specific images, specific ideas. And then something changed. According to the accounts, those thoughts didn't stay internal. They manifested, not physically at first, but perceptually. Others began to experience them, see them, as if the boundary between internal thought and external reality had shifted. And that's where it moves, from psychological to something else. Because once perception becomes shared, it's no longer just inside one person. It becomes external, observable. And if that process can be controlled, then it becomes a system, not a phenomenon, but a tool. And that's what some claim was happening. The thoughts weren't just being observed, they were being amplified, directed, used, which introduces a different possibility. That perception itself can be manipulated, not just influenced, but structured, generated. And if that's possible, then reality becomes less stable than people assume. Because what is experienced may not always originate from within. Then the claims expand further, beyond thought, beyond perception, into time. Allegations that the project explored time manipulation, not theoretical, not speculative, but applied. Attempts to access points outside the present, not just observe them, but interact. Openings, portals, moments where something could be entered and exited at a different time. Not just location, but time. And that's where skepticism increases, because this moves beyond science into something that doesn't have a framework. No verified system, no confirmed method, only descriptions. But the descriptions are consistent across different accounts, different individuals, describing similar mechanisms, similar outcomes, and consistency is difficult to ignore, not as proof, but as pattern. There are also claims of unintended consequences, because systems pushed beyond limits don't always remain controlled. Some describe manifestations, entities, things that weren't part of the plan, but appeared as a result of the experiments, not intentionally created, but produced, as if opening something allowed something else to come through. And once that happens, control shifts, because what was being tested is no longer contained. It becomes unpredictable, unstable, and that's where the stories change. From structured experiments to something less controlled, less explainable, more chaotic, which makes them easier to dismiss, because the further the claims go, the less they align with what people accept as possible. But dismissal doesn't remove the pattern, because the accounts continue. People who say they were involved, who describe similar environments, similar procedures, similar outcomes, even when separated by time, separated by location, separated by context. And that repetition keeps the discussion active, not confirmed, but not completely dismissed, because something is consistent, even if the explanation isn't. There's also the question of origin. Some believe the Montauk Project wasn't isolated, that it was an extension, a continuation of earlier programs, experiments focused on mind control, perception, influence, taken further, pushed beyond previous limits, because once something shows potential, it gets developed, expanded, refined, even if it isn't fully understood. But unlike earlier programs, there's no official confirmation, no declassified document that outlines the full scope, only fragments, references, mentions without detail, which places it in a different category. Not fully documented, not fully denied, but persistent, because the idea behind it touches on something deeper, not just whether it happened, but whether it could, whether the boundaries people assume are fixed are actually flexible, accessible, under the right conditions. Because if even part of it is true, then reality isn't as stable as it appears. Time isn't as linear. Perception isn't as contained. And control extends further than expected. The Montauk Project may never be confirmed. It may remain in that space, between theory and possibility, between claim and explanation. But the reason it continues isn't because it's proven. It's because it introduces a question that doesn't resolve easily. What if the limits we believe in aren't limits at all? What if they've already been tested, pushed, expanded? And what exists beyond those limits isn't unknown, just not disclosed. Because once something crosses that boundary, it doesn't return to where it started. It moves forward. Whatever comes from that doesn't always stay contained. And that's what keeps this active. Not the proof, not the confirmation, but the possibility. Because possibility is enough to continue the question, to continue the discussion, to continue looking at something that doesn't fully fit, but doesn't disappear either. The signal continues.